Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited regional chamber. Today, I'm really excited to feature the new executive director, well, not so new anymore, for the Idaho Association for the Education of Young Children. Yes, long name, amazing results, right? I'm going to bring on Dr. Robert Sanchez to the stage now.
Hi, Paul. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the invite to join the chamber today. Excited to tell our story and just kind of share about the great work that we're doing here across the state. Incredible team. And to your point about almost in this position a year, I'm going to share a secret with everyone here real quick, if I may. They gave me rookie status for one day. Then after that, they kicked me in the deep end of the pool. So even though under a year, I'm a veteran, battle-hardened veteran here with this team, and it's a great team. I feel incredibly blessed every day to come to work. I feel very humbled, very grateful for this team and the work that they do, and the incredible impact that it has on the lives of Idaho's children and families.
Well, Dr. Sanchez, I've known you for a little while now through the IDE and a little bit with NNU even back in your day. These chamber check-ins are really great ways of helping share our member stories, their products, services, but most importantly, the people. So let's do a quick introduction of you, a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are.
Thank you for the opportunity to share with everyone that's joining us today. So I'm going to provide some background and context. My story goes back to humble and early beginnings. I'm a native of Idaho. I was born and raised in Nampa. My mother, she was a single parent, never progressed past the 8th grade, and so she worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. She worked at a hotel during the day, making beds, and then at a bar at night. And so my brothers and sisters and I, we were the quintessential latchkey kids. So these challenges that many of our families face in terms of access to affordable and quality care, I lived through those challenges. But here's the bottom line. My mother, God bless her, she embedded in my brothers and sisters and myself the significance and value of hard work and integrity and education and faith. And while she may not have known all the ways to connect the dots, there were incredible folks in the community of Nampa that came alongside her. And we see that, played out through all the communities in Idaho. That's just what makes Idaho so great, I think. So in the midst of all those challenges, though, or you might say in spite of all those challenges, I went on to graduate high school, college, 2 master's degree, a PhD, a career in the military. And I look back, at all that success, and as I connected dots with it, it goes back to the community I was brought up in Nampa, Idaho, and those organizations and those individuals, whether they were teachers, whether they were faith-based members, business members. There were so many, I felt incredibly blessed in that so many organizations, there's so many people invested in me during those formative early years that it truly has made all the difference. And so I'm happy and excited today to talk about that within the context of what we're facing here at Idaho IDAEYC and across Idaho as we try to build and sustain a early learning and development system that really will set the conditions for families, whether they're in rural communities or whether they're in the more urban areas, to have access to affordable and quality care, so that all of us can experience that vision where every child can thrive, regardless of who they are or where they come from. They can thrive and have the best start to life. So that's a little bit about background and context. Happy to answer any questions to go into more detail. But what attracted me to Idaho IDAEYC, just real quick, is that the work that this organization does in the values that it represents just closely aligned to personal journey, which I just shared, with our chamber members, but also my professional journey in service to others and being part of something greater than myself. And when we look at that near perfect alignment, if it's not perfect alignment, that was just touchdown and win-win. And again, I've been here just a little less than a year, but tremendous things have happened. One thing that's happened as I was coming in, just real quick, is, I thought, okay, tough act to follow, because, you pointed this out earlier, our award from 2023, Boise Metro Chamber of Excellence Award for, the work that we do. And I thought, oh man, they just got an award. And now, how are we going to follow that up in my first year? And we can talk the whole podcast, about the great work that this team has done, in the recognition that we've received nationally and regionally for this work. But the most important thing I think we'll talk about today, again, to bring it back home to context, is the impact that it's having on the lives of Idaho's children and families. And then followed second, and most importantly, or of equal importance, is what chamber members, what role they play in helping, Idaho's children and families, and all of us, set the conditions for them for success, where they can thrive and have the best start in life.
Well, I'm glad that you're helping steer the mission of the Idaho AEYC. I couldn't think of anybody better. I know you took the reins over from Beth, who did an amazing job and was really involved. And the work you have done through the Idaho Business for Education was elevated. That's where I really started to watch what you have done and what you stand for. And like you said, our upbringing always puts us in the place that we need to be, right? And so let's talk about some of the services and who Idaho AEYC is, just really quick. Maybe I was talking about Little League as a reference for education, where you're coaching and developing, T-ball and rookies into those majors and minors roles in baseball, but teaching kids failure early and often and how to react to that. I think was the closest thing I could relate to what Idaho AEYC does, but it's much deeper than that. And so tell us a little bit about who.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Excellent analogy there. I want to begin maybe talking about our origins a little bit. I think we're celebrating 21 years as being a member of the Boise Metro Chamber. And we have 25 years as the lead nonprofit in the state for advancing early child care and education. So this whole organization really began in the late 90s, when a group of educators and providers, got together to say, we really need to have an organization that will standardize the best practices, lessons learned when it comes to childcare and education, but also be a powerful voice in speaking into licensing and how we ensure that there are safe and supportive environments for children, to learn and to grow in. And so, it started there in 1998, and then, 26 years later, the organization today while there's a tremendous record of achievements over those 25 and 26 years, members of the team will say, hey, the best days and best years are still yet ahead, because there's tremendous need. Our work isn't done. And it's really about ensuring that we can take care of the children and families in every region of our state, every community of our state. That's been the constant over the lifespan of this organization. Maybe the nature of the work changes a little bit as technology has allowed us to extend our reach into places where we couldn't do it before. But that's an exciting opportunity in front of us. Is how do we when we take a second just to acknowledge where Idaho and all the great work that's been done, but where we are today, we're still only one of a handful of states that doesn't fully fund preschool in the nation. And, we tremendous need is there are families, we find families that continue to struggle to find affordable and accessible, quality care. So to our members today, to the those that joined us, from the chamber, you probably live this every day, or at least have experienced it, frequently. Is that as business leaders or leaders of organizations, you probably see a lot of times maybe turnover or absenteeism or reduced productivity because members of the team don't have access to affordable and quality care. So this is more than just an education issue. Here at Idaho AEYC, it's a workforce and economic issue, and I'm looking forward to here in just a second to take us on a deep dive on how we're connecting the dots with early learning and development and making sure that we have the workforce, that we're doing our part to have the workforce that Idaho needs, not just now but in the future.
As a fellow board member to Sage International School, I know how critical it is that kids are ready for that kindergarten experience, and then K through 3 learning how to read, and then 3rd grade up is you're reading to learn, right? And I think the more that we can prepare that pre-K student, that person, into that experience, the better off they're going to be. And like you said, how it relates to the business community, workforce, talent retention, all the stuff that keeps our business owners up at night. Let's talk a little bit about, so 1998, AEYC was formed, and part of the national affiliation of the.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. We're the state affiliate of the national organization.
And then we talked a little bit about why it matters, why Idaho AEYC matters. A couple of notes here. Idaho is one of only 6 states without state public investment. You mentioned that, and you also mentioned the family struggle to find affordable, quality childcare. And then you're right on target. Businesses lose employees due to lack of childcare. And what's interesting, the timing of our discussion right now really mirrors the Chamber's theme of our leadership conference this year, which is all education and workforce development, which is huge as our city grows, as our business climate grows, with Micron expansion, the Meta-CUNA data center, all of it, right? So early learning just isn't an education issue; it's a workforce issue and an overall economic impact too. So I'm glad that we're talking about this today. We talked a little bit about the mission and the vision and who you are. Now let's dive a little bit more into the key focus areas, if you don't mind.
Yeah, happy to do that. We take a systems building approach to this incredible work that we do. And there's 5 components to our systems framework, and they're all interdependent, right? One impacts the other. And so the first one is access to affordable and quality care. The second component is the early identification of developmental needs, and then the timely interventions to mitigate, the learning challenges there. Family engagement is the next component, and so important in this work that we do across our state. And I look forward to talking here in a second, just a little more detail about all the great stuff that we do to engage families and providers. And then the next component is about school readiness and how there's a very deliberate and methodical approach to ensuring that a young child is given experiential learning activities, play type activities that stimulate the brain, but also build the kind of the literacy, the math proficiency, the problem solving, the social emotional ability to regulate behaviors, and all that to get them ready for kindergarten, and then set the set the conditions for success, for an educational journey for their entire life, because we're all lifelong learners. All this, the last component, just real quickly, we can't do it without the incredible contributions of our early child care providers. And so how we recruit, how we retain, how we professionally develop that workforce is so critically important to building and sustaining this early child care and development system here in our state. So that's the framework, that the lens that we look through in the work that we do, is how we connect all of those in a way that has the biggest impact on the life of a child and a family.
So you're providing resources for these early childhood centers, right?
Yeah, there is a ton of resources that we provide, and they're custom tailored for unique conditions that we have in our state, right? Because we have families and populations that English is not their first language, and so we have many of the materials are in Swahili or in the different nations of African languages, in Spanish, and so we very carefully have considered in the delivery of assets and resources that families need. What are the different languages? What are the different cultural things we need to account for? And the feedback loop is amazing, because they're not shy. They tell us pretty quick on what they like, and what things we can do better. But that's the framework part of it. And the assets and resources, we provide workshops, seminars. I'm going to talk a little bit about our Ready for Kindergarten program, and how that relates to these 5 areas that I just talked about in our systems framework. But when we can push out as many assets and resources as we can to where the need is greatest across our state, I think that is helping to enable our providers, that is helping to enable our families, and that is helping to enable our Idaho's children to thrive, and thrive in ways that will posture them well for transition to kindergarten, and then that educational journey we talked about earlier. So we can probably talk all day about all the different examples of assets and resources, whether they're activity and learning kits that we work very closely with one of our partners, a national partner, in designing these learning kits. I mentioned earlier about languages and culture. And designing them in a way that they are play-based, experiential learning, and really stimulate, a young person's growth in those activities I talked about, whether it's literacy, problem solving, social, emotional, and motor skills.
Absolutely.
We just feel really good about what we can provide our child care providers, what we can give to our families, and then how we come alongside them and guide them in our workshops and seminars. And so a lot there for our chamber members to think about. But there's a website that you're going to see at the bottom of the screen, I think, or at some time. But if not, it's IDAEYC. .org right there, and you go to that website to get just a sense of all the assets and resources. We literally send out tens of thousands of these different learning kits and different other resources, right, all over the state to impact the lives of Idaho's children and families, and It is just tremendous, the feedback that we're getting. And we're going to talk a little bit about it here in a minute, I think, in that video. But yeah, I think great question there about the assets and resources that we provide. So we work closely with providers. We work closely with families. We work closely with educators. And we work closely with the business community. And we need our business leaders, and we need our businesses and our organizations. And the fact is, every business, every organization has a capability or capacity that they can bring to address the many obstacles and barriers that are impacting access to affordable and quality care. And they've been a central part of our what we call early learning collaborative model. I'll go into that in just a little bit more detail here, but we couldn't do it without you. We absolutely need you, and welcome you in this journey that we're walking every day.
I love it. And I love that you're working with these early learning centers. All my kids went through the learning tree, and it's, there's breakfast, there's lunch, there's outside activity, there's learning going on. And then there's the kindergarten. So it's like, they call them the monkeys and the dinosaurs, and then the kindergarten there too. So I really love the opportunity to be able to have my kids go through that. And Kit and her whole team, they've been in business as an early learning center for 45 years and already doing some of the things that you're talking about already, which is huge. So when you're looking at those early learning centers and you're ready for your child to take that step into a daycare or a early learning center, ask those questions about some of the curriculum that they teach, right? I think it's important.
That's right. Yeah.
I think it's super important. You mentioned the collaborative. Do you mind if we show that video right now?
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah, thanks, okay. Paul.
All right, I'm going to add this to the stage, and here we go.
So we have actually no daycares, we have no preschools, nothing in the town of Castleford. In order to get to one, you have to go 15 minutes to Buell. And then when you get to Buell, then you have to be on a wait list in order for you to get into them. They're really hard to get into there. Callie and I just decided, like, hey, this is what we want to do. And we got some other girls on board with us, and they said, this is what we want for our community, because they also had small children. We're like, we need a preschool. We need something where our kids can go, feel safe, that we don't have to drive forever. And so we ended up meeting Martin, and he got the ball rolling for us.
We first assemble a group of stakeholders that have the community interest at heart and know most about what is challenging the community and most about the strengths that community can use to confront the challenges. And we put them together and we start to plan. Knowing
that what we're doing for our program is going to help the kids as they transition into kindergarten and transition into public school. That has been such a blessing for everybody, just because they know. I know that my kids are safe. I know my kids are where they're supposed to be, and I trust that what they're doing is the best thing for my child.
The future of early education systems in Idaho is locally driven.
As long as you have that interest in bettering the future of Idaho, then you are part of it already. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have kids, that maybe you work with children. It just means that you want a better Idaho, and that means empowering the future generations. I'd love to see an ELC in every region, making sure that it's not just another thing that's on the back burner, instead having high quality resources available in each ELC and making sure that all of them are attended properly, that they are, again, taking into consideration every different need in those communities and really focusing on elevating the successes of each one.
I think that the big thing that you need to understand with an early learning collaborative is that it's a partnership that's only as good as the initiative that its leaders are willing to take, and that we can confront the challenges of early education systems piece by piece in every community across the state, but it's going to take a cohesive community will to make it happen and a plan to make it happen. But there's been very remarkable things that have been done by people who brought together a team, put together a plan, and led a charge to help improve these systems.
I'm so thankful for the AEYC, and I'm so thankful that there are donors and people that want to help build early childhood education, because it's such a thing that has been missed for so many years, and there's so many children out there that need help and need resources, and they don't know what to do. And so the more children we can reach, the better our kids are going to be for the future. And even if that just means a safe place for them to go and be every single day, or a place for them to feel loved and have a warm meal, whatever that means, like just having that space, just that's what we need for our future.
I love that video, Dr. Sanchez. Thanks for sending that over to me. It's always good when you can see the work in action, right? And
oh, that's right. Yeah. We're so excited about the model and the Early Learning Collaborative. We just went through a strategic planning process, update our strategic plan. And we're part of this is how do we prioritize our early learning collaboratives so that we have representation and a reach into every corner of our state, or all corners of our state, where there's just tremendous need, just like Rachel in the video described, right? That she told the story about, Castleford and no childcare, affordable or accessible quality care, in their region, right? And they had to drive 15 minutes to Buell, only to find out that there was a waiting list, that they're confronted with. And so the solution, was this early learning collaborative, and how we think through that, about true change coming at the local level, and where we truly believe in the power of local decision making. And these early learning collaboratives, they're built on the premise that the best solutions are homegrown, springing from the understanding of each community's unique needs. And so, Eastern Idaho versus Northern Idaho versus Southwestern Idaho versus North Central Idaho, they're unique, and there's some commonalities, of course, across the challenges for accessible and affordable care. But there's also some unique needs, to that community. And so like Castleford, Rachel and the team there, they've done a tremendous job in how they've brought, the assets and resources, together there at the local level to make, an impact there on early learning and development. They're just phenomenal. So we have 25 of those across the state right now. And awesome. We're going to continue to build upon that success, just like Rachel described, so that we take areas right now that we commonly refer to as childcare deserts, because there's no access to affordable and quality care, and how we just flip the script, right? And then through the early learning collaborative process, have affordable and accessible care that really just is so valuable to families and to local businesses, in our workforce. And businesses have been a central part of that. And they do, again, as I mentioned earlier, they have so many unique capacities and capabilities that they can bring to bear on the challenges, just like Castleford described right there in the early learning collaborative. So we look forward to, as an organization, being tied at the hip, if you will, of businesses and all the communities across the state, and integrating them in, or speaking to them about the opportunities, giving them the call to action, and then integrating them into the early learning collaborative process, because they can play a huge role.
It's important to invest in our future, especially local businesses. And I love seeing how those kids were so engaged with their teachers. I love that. Now, hey, a couple more things before we go. It's the Week of the Young Child. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. So this week, all of our early learning collaboratives across the state are doing incredible things to celebrate the Week of the Young Child. And these events and activities that are happening all week are running the gamut from having events that bring families and children and the collaboratives together, if you will, but then in a way that it brings the entire community to get together. Yep. To really not just celebrate children, but celebrate the success that is being made each day in these communities, and to success within the context of early learning and development. Again, there's so much work to be done, but to pause and celebrate the young child, I think every day should be, a celebration of the young child. But
so do they.
This one week, so many things going around across those 25 different collaboratives. So go to our website and you'll see all the different things going on across our state. We're just so excited to be able to be a part of that, and our early learning collaboratives to play a central role in that. Because again, it gives us an idea. I mean, it gives us the opportunities. We bring communities together to share resources. A lot of those activities we talked about earlier that you saw in the video with the early learning collaborative, all that centers on the learning of young children, those are just precious moments, and we're excited, this week to host those events, and look forward to telling the story and showing, the videos and the testimonials of all those that were impacted just in celebrating this Week of the Young Child.
I love it. I see over 18 cities in Idaho are issuing proclamations along the state of Idaho. Virtual diaper drives, and again, check out the website, IdahoAEYC.org.
Hey, please come out and join us. Please find time at any one of the events just to come visit us. Would love to have you be part of the celebration.
I think let's close with a couple of upcoming ways to engage. I know that Idaho Gives is coming up here pretty soon. The Chamber with Idaho Nonprofit Center and the Idaho Community Foundation are going to be hosting their annual Idaho Gives Day, where you can pick nonprofits to donate to or to support. Idaho AEYC is one of those members that can do that. Also, ways to engage with Idaho AEYC. There's an actual employer toolkit. Can you give me 30 seconds on that?
Yeah, so the employer toolkit is a product that is the result of collaboration between Idaho AEYC and a national partner to support or to share best practices and lessons learned in helping businesses, whether it's with workplace policies or things within the workplace environment, even things like Micron, where they host a on-site childcare opportunity or opportunities. We've put a lot of thought and put a lot of work into that toolkit, and we're continuing to develop it. We're in the process of updating it. So over the course of the next month, there'll be a newer version of that coming out. But in the meantime, we welcome all our business leaders to just take a look at the website and find that employer toolkit. Have a member of your team, just kind of do a deep dive of it. And we'd love your feedback on that, because again, we're interested in what's working, what employers really like best about that, and how we can make it better.
Also, Early Learning Conference, June 13th.
Yes, please come out and join us at our annual Early Learning Conference in downtown Boise, June 13th through the 14th. Sign up quickly; it sells out every year, and so a great opportunity for you and members of your team to come out and meet the complete Idaho EYC team, and we want to hear from you in terms of what do businesses need and how can we create or add value as an organization in developing, setting the conditions for early child care and education, and how that relates to, the workforce needs, recruitment, retention, and having the workforce that all communities and all businesses need, not just but now in the future. There's that direct link from early childcare all the way, through an entire person's life to workforce, development. So please come out and join us downtown Boise, June 13th and 14th. We'd love to have you be part of our conference.
Yeah, show your support for Idaho AEYC. A few more final closing factoids that Sherilyn sent us. Idaho loses $65 million annually in tax revenue due to childcare issues. I think it's important to put it in that financial way of thinking. Absences and employer turnover costs Idaho employers $414 million per year. Okay. More than 90% of parents rely on family members for at least some childcare. And about half of parents reported missing work due to childcare issues, right? That's important to think about. And then 23% of parents postponed school or training program due to childcare issues. That's why it's even more important now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Paul, and your team are doing.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, and Sherilyn, if you're dialed in and listening, thank you for sending those important details to Paul, because they speak volumes about the challenge that not just our businesses but all of us, as we play a role in early childcare and learning systems, right? Especially strengthening and sustaining them. We can't, the business impacts are huge. They're tremendous. The workforce impacts are huge and tremendous. And we're all in this together. And again, we invite all the chamber members, to just come visit our website and reach out to us. Would love to talk with you about ways that we can work together to address the significant challenges and barriers, and impacting early learning and development and the workforce that Idaho needs, not just now, but in the future.
Dr. Sanchez, thank you for spending your Thursday afternoon with me, sharing the Idaho AEYC story. Thanks to you and your team for the continued effort that it takes, the shoulder to the wheel mentality, buddy. That's what it takes.
Well said. Thank you for the invite and for asking us, to come share our story and just spend time with the chamber members in talking about this very critically important topic. And thank you, and to the leadership at the chamber for all that you do in support of organizations, in this Boise metropolitan area. It does have an impact on families, communities, our businesses, and ultimately the world we all share.
Well, stay tuned in for next week, where we get to feature the owner of a restaurant, the James, you may have heard, or the Sandwich Shop, or the new Corso Italian steak fine dining experience they've invested there on Broadway. I'm looking forward to talking to them. Remember to like, share from our YouTube channel, and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody.